All right, let's get into it. Today, we're basically becoming archaeological detectives. In our case, it's one of the world's greatest ancient cultures, the Harappan civilization. Now, their story isn't written down in books we can just pick up and read. No, it's pieced together from the clues they left behind. You know, the bricks, beads, and bones. So let's grab our magnifying glasses and start digging.
Okay, so where do we even begin? Our first clue is this. Take a look. This is the Harappan seal, probably their most distinctive and most mysterious artifact. It's usually made from a soft stone called steatite, and you can see this beautiful, detailed animal carving. But the real mystery is right above it, that line of script. Here's the crazy part. For almost 100 years, the smartest people have tried to crack it, and nothing. We still have no idea what it says.
And that is our central challenge, isn't it? If we can't read what they wrote, how on earth are we supposed to tell their story? How do we figure out who they were, how they lived, what they believed in? Well, it turns out the answer isn't in their words. It's in what they built.
And believe me, what they built was on a massive, massive scale. So we're going to zoom out from this tiny, mysterious seal and look at the absolute genius of their cities. This is our first big clue about just how organized their society really was.
Just look at this map of Mohenjo-Daro, one of their biggest cities. This was not some village that just grew organically over time. Oh no, this was a planned metropolis from the get-go. You can clearly see the two main parts right here. You've got this smaller, raised area called the Citadel, and then this much, much larger section down below, the lower town, where most people lived.
And this is where the evidence for some kind of powerful central government becomes just undeniable. It wasn't just that the cities were planned with these neat grid-like streets and massive platforms. Get this, the very bricks they used were standardized to a precise ratio. Now think about that for a second. The exact same size of brick was used across a huge area, stretching all the way from Jammu down to Gujarat. That implies a level of planning and communication that is, frankly, just staggering for the ancient world.
Their engineering skills were, wow, just remarkable. Up on the Citadel, you find these huge monumental structures like the Great Bath, which was probably used for some kind of public rituals. But you know what's even more impressive? The genius you couldn't see. They built the ancient world's most sophisticated drainage system. Every single house was connected to covered drains that ran under the streets. Every single house.
And look, this wasn't just pretty good for its time. The archaeologist Ernest Mackay, one of the first to excavate Mohenjo-Daro, put it perfectly. He called it, and I quote, the most complete ancient system as yet discovered. To give you some perspective, this level of public sanitation wouldn't be seen again in many parts of the world for literally thousands of years. It's just mind-blowing.
Okay, so we've seen the big picture, the grand city plan. Now let's zoom right in. Let's talk about the people themselves. What can their everyday objects, you know, the bricks, beads, and bones, tell us about their daily lives?
So how did they feed everyone in these massive cities? Well, the answer is agriculture. We see art like this terracotta bowl, which tells us they knew the animal really well. Archaeologists are pretty sure they used oxen for plowing. And we've even found charred grains, so we know they were growing wheat, barley, and lentils. And of course, the bones tell us they kept cattle, sheep, and goats.
But they weren't just farmers, not by a long shot. These people were master craftspeople. I mean, just look at this incredible variety of beads. They made them from beautiful stones like carnelian and jasper. Some tiny settlements, like a place called Chanhudaro, were almost entirely dedicated to craft production, like little factories just churning out these gorgeous objects for trade.
And you can see their tech skills in their metalwork too. They were working with copper and bronze to create tools just like these. These were the very implements that built their world and created all those amazing crafts we were just looking at.
You know, even really simple, everyday objects give us such powerful clues. These are grinding stones, or saddle querns, and they are found everywhere in huge numbers. This is direct physical proof of how they process their food. It tells us exactly how they turned all that wheat and barley they harvested into flour for their daily meal.
So here's a big question. Was everyone in their society equal? Well, to figure that out, archaeologists look at how different objects are distributed. They look for things that were rare or really difficult to make, like these little pots made of a material called fance. These are considered luxury items. And guess what? They're mostly found in the big cities like Mohenjo-Daro, which suggests there was probably some kind of social hierarchy. You know, some people were richer or more important than others.
All right, time to zoom out again, because the Harappans weren't just living in their own little bubble. Nope, they were major players in a vast, interconnected world, an ancient global network of trade and exchange.
This map just shows their incredible reach. They set up settlements way outside the Indus Valley just to get their hands on resources. They were getting copper from Oman, beautiful shells from the coastal areas, and that precious blue stone, lapis lazuli, all the way from Afghanistan. This wasn't just simple trade. This was a complex, long-distance supply chain.
And this is where we get a massive breakthrough. Remember that script we can't read? Well, we can actually use another civilization's writing to help us out. Texts from ancient Mesopotamia talk about trading with a far-off land they called Maluha. Now check this out. Look at what they say they imported from Maluha. Carnelian, lapis lazuli, copper, gold. These are the exact same things we know the Harappans were making and exporting. So it's pretty much certain Maluha was the Harappan region.
And if you need visual proof, here it is. On the left, you have a classic Harappan seal with its famous humped bull. And on the right, this was found thousands of kilometers away in Mesopotamia. It's a cylinder seal, their style, but it's carved with the exact same bull motif. This is the smoking gun, people, undeniable proof of contact between these two great ancient civilizations.
But this, thriving, sophisticated, and globally connected civilization, it didn't last. And this brings us to our final, and maybe the greatest mystery of all. What on earth happened to them?
So for about 700 years, during what we call the mature Harappan period, their cities were flourishing. Everything was going great. But then, around 1900 BCE, something started to go wrong. And by 1800 BCE, most of these great, bustling cities had been completely abandoned.
And the evidence for this collapse is crystal clear in the archaeological record. The unique seals, the script, those standardized weights, they all just disappear. Long-distance trade completely dries up. You can even see the quality of the buildings going downhill. The whole urban way of life just fizzled out. Now, there are a lot of theories, climate change, rivers changing course, but honestly, no single reason seems to fully explain the collapse of an entire civilization.
But wait, the story doesn't end there. Modern science is now giving us some absolutely startling new clues. What you're looking at is a burial from Rakhigarhi in Haryana, which is actually the largest known Harappan city. And just in the last few years, scientists have managed to extract ancient DNA from these very skeletons, opening up a whole new window into the past. And the conclusion from that DNA research is, well, it's just stunning. The civilization collapsed, yes. The cities were abandoned. But the people, they didn't just vanish. Their DNA shows a direct, unbroken lineage to the majority of people living in South Asia today. So, in a very real way, the Harappans are still with us. So we've come full circle, right back to that enigmatic script. This here is one of the longest inscriptions ever found, discovered at a site called Dholavira. It looks like a giant signboard, right? It's a message from 4,000 years ago, a message we can see so clearly but still can't comprehend.
So think about it. Modern science has found the people. It's connected them through an unbroken thread of ancestry all the way to today. We are, many of them, their descendants. But their voices, their thoughts, their stories, their beliefs, they're still locked away in these ancient symbols. So the ultimate question for our investigation remains, what secrets are they still waiting to tell us?